Hail them.
Hailing frequencies open, sir.
Hailing frequencies open.
I don't know why I keep giving alien street food a chance. It's always such a gamble.
Captain, we're being hailed.
On screen.
You know, I ask everyone to be quiet while we record, while I play the intro music, because we do it like in time. And then I cracked my neck in the middle of it. And I'm like, oh my God, that was so loud. Is that going to go through?
It sounded like you broke a glass.
Right. Like, oh God, what happened? Hello and welcome everyone to another Hailing Frequencies Open podcast where we continue to trek through the past and future of Star Trek. As always, I'm your host, and joining me here in the virtual studio, he was so excited to attend a convention in Long Island and visit some of his old grinder haunts. Let's find out if it was worth the trek. It's Damien. Oh, you're muted.
You're
See,
still
I told
muted.
everyone to mute,
Oh my
and
God, I
that's the
started to
problem.
talk on mute. Oh, we're off to a great start. That was thank you, Lenita, for that intro. For the record, on the extraordinarily unlikely chance that my spouse is listening, we're not on Grindr.
Let's.
But that doesn't mean I'm not up to shady things. So
that's a whole other podcast. What
whole
are
other
the better
podcast.
apps?
And look at
in Long
Lenita's
Island?
doing such a good job being quiet until it's her turn to talk. She's not even laughing out loud.
She's not muted either.
Is it Sniffies, Damien?
Well, we'll get into that later.
No, he's sick, so it's Sniffles.
Oh, it's Sniffles. I am sick.
She'll single-handedly start a deadly tribble infestation because she thinks they're cute. It's Lenita.
They are cute. I would do it. And
There were
probably
so many tribbles.
We're there. Oh, by the way, just off rip, I was not at the con. However, there was a brown paper bag on my desk when I got to work today, and inside was a wonderful little script about tribbles. I'm so stoked.
Oh, and we're going to tell you all about that script
Yes.
and what exactly it is and who, more importantly, I should say, who we bought it from.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm excited.
And you should
about
also
that.
notice the scribbling on the cover. It actually makes it more valuable. So,
Yes.
Oh,
All right.
I'll use
that's
gloves.
a teaser. We're going to cliffhanger that till later in the
Yeah.
pod because I know everyone wants to know.
Stay tuned for more. All right, let's round out the rest of our panel. He is the COO of To Proudly Go, our friend and yours. Welcome back, Sonyl.
Hello. Wait, I have friends?
We've
You're our
established you
friend.
don't.
Sunil, I'm sick and cranky tonight, and I said we're only having our actual friends on the pod because I'm at risk of not being nice to whoever joins us. And since we're all friends, it's okay.
I
Well
think
then.
what he's saying is that it's a one-way street on that friendship.
Actually, Damien, I know you
No.
pretty well. I feel like the niceness would be more likely if you don't know them. You're mean to your friends.
Yeah,
That's
I was
true.
more implying that I didn't know that anyone liked me. So,
Oh.
that's
We're still
where
on
I'm
the
at
part.
right now.
We're still on the part of the intros where it's like lies, right? So
Right.
I love the idea that we would have Sunil on the podcast 3 times and not like him. But okay, continue.
You've already heard her voice. She runs the show over at To Proudly Go as the stage manager, deputy COO, and chief procurement officer. It's Leigh Ellen.
Ooh,
Hey.
procurement officer. What you
Yeah.
I thought you were
procuring?
going to wave
Wait,
silently.
does that mean you buy shit?
She procures it. Didn't say
yeah,
she
I
bought it.
procure our merchandise. I'm like the merchandise manager, but we needed to make it like a chief officer situation, and procurement just sounds better than like manager.
It does. It
Yeah.
does.
Love that.
Sexy.
It's a good title.
We love a good title. Speaking of, you read the title of this episode. We are going to talk about the convention that we just got back from, all of us except for Lenita, who couldn't go. It's we went to Trek Long Island 2025. This was the 3rd year, I think, that they've done this convention in Long
Yes.
Island. Listeners, this should not be new territory for you, because if you listen to episode 114, we had the founder and I don't know, executive officer, something like that, again with titles, Stephanie Gangone and Paul, whose last name escapes me, fabulous Paul.
Paul Michael something. Oh, dang
right.
it.
He was great.
Sorry,
Love him.
Paul. We love you.
Listen.
They were both, Stephanie and Paul. He's just a one name person. It's like Cher. Like every
Mhm.
time I saw him, you know. They were on the other day and gave us a preview of the convention. So make sure you go back and listen to that. And then today we're going to talk about a little recap of how it went, whether the good, the bad, and the ugly. Um, so since Lenita didn't go, she has questions.
Yep, got a whole list in my head of questions. Let's start with, what time did everybody show up? What day did you arrive? And what did you wear?
Oh,
Good
Ooh.
question.
well, Mike flew in on Thursday night, crashed with me,
Mm-hmm.
and then we picked up our friend Jackson Juniper, drag king for Too Proudly Go, and then drove out to Queens and got Leigh Ellen. And I think that we were out at the hotel by what, like
2:30, 3.
2:30
Yeah.
or 3.
Yeah,
And
something
being
like
New
that.
Yorkers, it's exotic to us to go to places like Chili's. So we went to the exotic Chili's Hop Hog Long Island.
I had been plotting this for days beforehand. I was
To go
like,
to the Chili's?
yes. I was like, okay, there's like 2. Which one is the closest? What's going to be the most convenient for me to convince everybody? And then I was like, big
Oh my God.
margaritas. And everybody was like, yeah. So that's what we
That's a
did.
good sell. That's a very
Yeah.
good sell for
I
sure.
got the full sugar brown soda with free refills. So
Hell yeah. We drove up to this hotel, which seemed to be in the middle of nowhere. Like across the street was like a rock quarry, and there were no other buildings in sight. I was like, where are we? And Leigh Ellen's like, there's a Chili's 12 minutes from here.
And you know what? You know what that is? It is basically the universal sign of civilization.
Chili's.
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 There's a
No.
reel about it that every chain restaurant is just a different version of Chili's. Like Red Lobster is a seafood Chili's, Olive Garden is an Italian Chili's, and I mean all of them. It makes me cackle. So when you actually went to the original Chili's, like dead.
Yeah.
Did
there was definitely
Red
like
Lobster predate?
Yeah.
there's definitely
Red
an
Lobster-
independent Mexican restaurant next door that looked like it had been destroyed in the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, it did not survive. Chili's won out in the battle of
Yep.
the Tex-Mex
And
between
yes,
those two
Sunil,
buildings.
yes, Red Lobster probably predated Chili's, but that's being logical about it. It was funny to me.
I liked
Logic.
it.
Well, you know what? Logic is for the Vulcans.
Exactly.
While we're on the topic of food, I'm going to go ahead and jump in and talk about the hotel.
The elephant in the room.
All of us cackled, those of us who were there.
Mm-hmm. And this isn't a new thing. Like this has been a running thing. We went for the first time last year. I hear from like people, oh, the elevators are so slow. Oh, the food takes forever. And then I experience it for myself. And then yet again, here we are back at Hop Hog Hyatt or wherever the heck we were
It's
at.
a Hyatt?
It was
Mhm.
a
Hyatt.
Hyatt,
Regency.
yeah. Well, first of
Hyatt
all, we
should
get
be
there.
disappointed.
We get there, and there's several wedding parties in the hotel at the same time because behind the front desk there were all these, gift bags. Yeah,
Yes.
because that's a thing.
Good host.
Um,
Yes.
Yes, yeah, several good hosts. And then the the first red flag was the note on the door of the restaurant that said, "Will not be providing breakfast due to fire." So that was a thing. And then we get to our room, which was it was fine. The hotel,
room was fine.
the elevator was slow. The room was fine. It had some water damage, no big deal. The power went out for like it just like bloop went out, and we thought it was just our room because the lights in the hallway were still on. So I called the phone didn't have a front desk button, so I called like I don't know
Zero.
I don't know housekeeping,
Housekeeping?
like whatever button I could get to, and I was like, "Hi, our power just went out," and she said, "Yeah, do you need some towels?" Um, maybe that was her shady way of saying, "Why are you calling housekeeping?" But I was like, "No, the electricity went out," and she said, "Oh yeah, but it came back on." And I'm like, "Do not gaslight me, ma'am. I am in a dark room." She was like, "I'll tell them that it's still out," and I was like, "Okay." So then it did come back on, but don't get too comfy because it's gonna go off again. in the middle of the night.
It went off for hours over, for like 4 hours in the middle of the
Yeah.
night.
2 a.m. to 7 a.m.
Well, you were sleeping. It was fine.
I was not sleeping. I was having a fun time.
Oh, okay.
No. With drag queens, girl. Come on.
Who sleeps during a Trek con?
Right? Yeah, we were just drinking and
I would
hanging
have been
out.
sleep.
Well, I mean, I guess I was trying to sleep most of it, but then
we were
I have
sharing a
no good
room,
excuse.
so I woke him up.
Yeah.
There you go.
I
You
came
need
back
a
from
partner
the
in
party.
crime.
Partners
I was
in
trying to
crime are
sleep,
how
but
it works.
Mhm.
But the power going out meant that the CPAP machine that I am addicted to sleeping with did not work. So I had the hardest time sleeping. Damien, however, was out like
a brick.
Yeah, like a brick, like in his bed. Like I was like, I kept looking over there, like, are you shitting me?
Nope.
Well, in fairness, I had spent the previous night being aggressively coughed on by my loving spouse, who I now blame for my current affliction. But so that night I got my sleep.
I gotta say though, when we were outside the following afternoon, when there was yet another issue,
another fire.
When Damien told me that you guys figured out the power was off because your CPAP machine cut out in the middle of the night, it was the funniest thing I had ever heard. It was wonderful.
That was pretty good.
I'm sorry, Mike. I don't want to make fun of. I'm not being ableist.
No, you're not. Please. Oh, adenoids are too big. I need a little extra put there.
You know what I call mine? It's my Borg sleeping device. It's my regeneration unit.
But he doesn't bring that to hotels, and so it sounds like someone's dying. And
I travel with it. Oh,
well, I should tell you that when the hotel emailed me afterwards to be like, "Will you review us?" I was like, "Yes, I will review you." And then when I finished their survey, they were like, "Do you want to go to TripAdvisor to review us?" And I was like, I will start a TripAdvisor account to review you. And you better believe that I claimed that CPAP machine as my own. And I was up all night and writing the review.
Good. I
didn't get a wink of sleep.
Oh, I really hope that Hyatt reaches out to you. I want to follow up on this.
If you look at the TripAdvisor for that hotel, it is 20 people all left identical reviews with the same complaints. And really, when you look at it, it's like shit happens.
Yeah.
Fires happen. But the fact that they
consistently
didn't offer anything, they didn't communicate, there was no apology, they just closed breakfast. There was no coffee out in the morning.
That's why you reach out to corporate, which I'm gonna have to do because the Holiday
because
Inn
your
Express,
CPAP machine stopped working.
Baby, I don't need no CPAP. I go to sleep. Grey's Anatomy goes on. And I go down. That's how that happens.
How many minutes are we in? How many minutes are we in?
in?
And we were already at Grey's Anatomy.
You did it.
I'm the winner. I'm the winner. Sorry, continue, Lenita.
No. We just had to, move the +1 to Memphis, and literally had to stay at a hotel because no furniture, not sleeping on the floor because stuff is, being delivered that we've all ordered. We always stay at a Holiday Inn Express, free breakfast. People talk about all they want. They're usually updated. You get free breakfast in the morning. You push the button, get 2 pancakes that come out in 2 minutes. Delicious. However, this one, no, they've let it go. So I will be on an email. Hello, I'm a gold member. This is not the standard of the Holiday Inn Express chain. You need to put some money into it. And I need a refund. Thank you. Water damage, click. No soap, click.
See, I'm also curious about with everything that happened with the hotel. I saw the receipts from the other parts of our team, and they had this interesting discount on both bills. I was like, oh, but it says group rate discount. Okay, sure. And I look at mine, and no discount, even though the group rate code is the same. So, I shall be probably hailing corporate soon.
You should.
You should
get those coins.
Yes.
Okay, so hotel was less than
ideal. Other bullet points about the hotel that I feel like I have to say. Fire alarm went off 4 times.
Yeah.
So everybody evacuated. We're all standing out there with
various forms of dress.
celebrities and various.
No,
of
everybody
undress.
was like various forms of cosplay. We were coming from
Yeah.
like the exhibition hall, the vendors
Yeah,
hall.
it was in the middle of
Boo.
the night.
Okay, boo.
It was a little
Right.
chilly though.
Yeah.
It was. The wind was really, really whipping. And then after there was no food in the restaurant, we tried to go to the little like, sundries like store to see what kind of food they have. And I was like, what is that smell? And Damien said, it smells like piss. And I was like, oh yeah, like on the subway. Like it
Oh, I know
smells
that smell.
bad in here. So yeah, so there's that. But anyway, I think that the hotel just has a lot of maintenance issues. So yeah,
I think
hope
that
that
you all
they
can help with that. Honestly, I
that-
think that if you write enough, just little like, hey, heads up. We went to
Yeah.
this thing. We were excited to go to the thing. Your facility needs couple ducats to bring it back to its former glory.
because the convention center part was fine. Like I didn't see
Yeah.
any problems in those rooms or anything.
It's a good facility for what the event is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Good number of rooms.
I'm also amused you said ducats, Lenita, instead of lashing them.
It's the black in me. It happens.
We can't all be as nerdy as I am.
All right. Are we
I
ready
know.
to start talking about
So-
the actual convention?
I want to know what
Yes.
y'all wore. I want to know day
Oh,
one
wait,
outfit,
we
day
didn't-
two outfit. Come on now. There were 3 questions in my original
That
question.
is
Right.
true.
Mike Jones first.
I did our own like swag shirts all weekend actually. So I wore the first day I was wearing us as Orions.
That's my favorite picture. I look good now.
It got a lot of comments, a lot of compliments. Good conversation
should.
starter.
Yeah, because we look good.
Yeah, it actually was. People were like, "How did you do that? Who are those characters? What is that lower decks?" And then it prompted us to explain. So,
Which is
Lower you.
good because you guys aren't really the like, hey, my name's so and so, and I have a podcast.
I wasn't
No.
there.
I know.
there.
We're not like aggressive networkers the way that we should.
I feel
but
like I
we
helped you
should.
guys a little bit sometimes.
you absolutely
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Mike Jones, you did say that you're wearing your own swag. I will have to point out for everyone that currently Damien and Mike Jones are wearing Proudly Ghost
We are, yes.
merchandise. Thank you for supporting.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are.
Yep, we all support each other.
Also,
Yeah,
night one, I wore the shirt that Mike is currently wearing. And then I
Oh.
also wore that to start the drag show. But I bought these full arm sleeves that are rainbows with like rainbow tassels. And so
Oh, you
I
had fringe?
yeah, it was awesome.
Ooh.
She was
Everybody
basically-
loved it.
A
She
rainbow
was
bright?
basically female Rainbow Liberace.
I
Yes.
love it.
Yes.
Are there
Yes, I
pictures
was.
of this?
I have not found any of me with the streamers because I forgot I took 7 photos. the whole
I took
weekend.
3.
Yeah, I didn't take hardly any.
And
goodness,
6 of
y'all.
those 7 photos were when Austin had texted me and been like, "Hey, can you take a picture of the booth?" So
The
6
cherub?
of-
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Well,
is that his
Austin was
name?
getting a lot of footage. Oh,
Hmm?
Is that his name? The cherub? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Lanita
Oh,
loves Austin.
Lanita
Yeah.
loves Austin in a way where she forgets his name every time.
Yeah.
well,
And
aw.
and he said on the pod, "I'm beginning to realize that next time I meet you, I'm going to have to reintroduce myself." And she said that's probably a good idea.
It's probably a possibility considering the fact that I had a whole discussion with Davidson on text, like, you picked up the cherub face boy? It's like,
The
no.
cherub-faced boy.
He said, no, that's not.
He's gonna love this. He's
We
gonna
love-
be like
we love
texting me
Austin.
like, I can't believe we were talking about what do you not say to get those text messages. We're gonna get them now from us.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
He has
Yeah.
your number, not mine.
can't
Good luck to
believe
you.
Yeah.
oh, that
Well,
can
you
be
know,
changed. That can be fixed.
Oh, Sunil, you don't want to. That's not a good idea.
Mm-mm.
I never said it was a good idea, but I
Right.
just said it is within the realm of possibility to be changed. And
Maybe.
then cherubs texting you in the middle of the night.
Do not
Oh
disturb
my
his
God.
own blocking. Okay, so Sunil, what did you wear? What were you fashioned in?
I was fashioning
You wore the queer nerd shirt the
I
first
wore
night.
Queer Nerd the first night.
Yeah.
That's correct. That's correct.
And his Volante jacket.
Yeah, he got an upgrade. You got a new jacket, yeah?
Mhm.
I did get an upgrade. So, okay. Volante, if you don't know, promise I'm not paid by them, but they have really, really quality like merch.
It's like
apparel.
Star Trek streetwear.
Yeah, exactly. And they also have a bunch of different fandoms too. They have all sorts of different things, but they're like high quality, they're good stuff. So I needed to get a larger size because I busted the zipper on my other one. We'll let that one go. But they actually did have the ability for me to repair the busted zipper for less than what I would have paid probably at a tailor here. So
Okay.
So they took it. They sent it in, and they sent me a bill, and I'm going to pay it and get it back.
Well, that's awesome. Wow.
So they're very friendly. And Leigh Ellen won a gift card.
I did. And this bitch is too broke to buy the rest of the coat. So I'm going to have to put it on hold for now.
So it's like a gift card that's not big enough to cover the actual product.
Well, it's $100 gift card, and their jackets average like $300. So yeah, but I mean, like they're nice, and I've wanted one for a long time. But I'm just gonna have to like wait to use that gift card. I felt really bad because I kind of think they expected the person to like get the gift card and be like,
right,
and then like buy a coat right there. And I was like, I'm gonna just put this in my bag and like,
well, that's on them.
Casually walk away, you know. Yeah.
But yes, I did get a new science blue, and underneath I had a mock turtleneck so that it was like the DS9 Voyager style necks, and we have little pips like if you're watching like kind of like this one that I'm twirling in, but we have our Too Proud to Go logo pips. So that's what I had on for most of the con.
Yeah.
Fashion. Damon, what were you rocking?
I for day one, I had my Talin t-shirt, the one where Talin is saying to Tendi, I have no interest in that activity. Which you know, as that line when I saw it on Lower Decks, I was like, that is my motto.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Same.
And so I had that on, and then later that evening I changed to my Guinan t-shirt with the sort of like line drawing
from Melissa Longo.
Melissa Longo, yes.
I thought that's who it was. Yes.
From the Seventh Rule, yeah. And then I had our like branded. We did Mike and I did matching, so I did royal blue
matching
with our logo on Saturday, and then the gray on Sunday. But I cut the sleeves off to be like a little slutty.
Well, Saturday night you wore that shaka when the walls fell, and everybody loved
when the walls fell.
What a perfect place to wear a shirt like that. Everybody got the reference. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yes.
Well, everybody except for one bitch at the bar.
Yes, actually, Damien, jump into that one. That one's fun.
Yeah. So I mean, just sort of like as a side note, Leigh Ellen and I were both, they had these like sort of pride panels where they talked about all sorts of like queer issues, mostly related to Star Trek and sci-fi. Ours really kind of wasn't, but it was we were on a panel about queer allyship, which is sort of funny because
but you're a homosexual. But anyway, go ahead.
But he's an ally to women.
It was about
homosexual, not a homosexual hole.
What's
the difference?
I don't know. I took it as like my chance to talk about what allies are to me. So
this is allyship. Calling you a hole. That's allyship.
I'm just a hole. All right.
I'm just
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh God.
Go ahead.
Oh God.
I'm sorry.
So we're at there's like the dance party sort of thing. We're skipping around now on Saturday night. But I'm at the bar, like there's all these weddings on Long Island. And, you know, I don't want to cast aspersions on the general population of Long Island as a region, but there's some, it's a certain persuasion out there. And I'm standing at the bar in my like Shaka on the Walls fell like cut t-shirt. And I don't know whether I was looking like a raging homosexual or like a crazy Trekkie or both.
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 Yes, and
yeah.
And this like drunk lady, definitely not with the con, leans against the bar and she points at me. She's like, "Why are you the way you are?"
Damn
And
it,
then I
why
kind
can't
of
I
look
be
at her
here
and I
for
was like,
these
"I don't know.
things?
Why are you the way you are?" And she kind of comes back and then she looks at me and she's like, "You look terrible." And I was like, "Have you looked in a mirror lately? Because you don't look so good yourself." And
Yes.
and she's like, "No, I mean, actually, you look really great." And then her and then her boyfriend or husband leans in and is like, kind of like pushes her aside a little bit. And she's like, "She's an ally." And I'm like, "I didn't see you at the panel today."
Oh my
She's an
God.
ally.
Yikes.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I was like, what like aspect of my identity is upsetting or confusing you right now? Because I would like all of it. Like what? Like and of all the like, by the way,
Mm.
I was I would say on the scale of like crazy nerdy queer, I was like
Oh,
more on the normal end of things. Maybe I was just like
yeah.
approachable to ask that of. I don't know.
Well, they were also lit.
They were lit. And
They were
also,
Yeah.
lit.
you know, sometimes there's like a drunk white lady thing
Oh yeah.
where
Yeah.
Oh
they're
yeah.
around
Leigh
gay
Ellen, can
people
you
and
tell us more about that?
they all think that they're Samantha from Sex and the City.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
as a true ally, I actually don't know that from personal experience. So thank you, Sunil. But
No,
actually,
I was
now
just
that
talking
we're
the drunk
talking
white lady bit.
now that we're talking about Damien's looks, I do have something that I want to bring up for Lanita that I'm
Ooh.
so excited about.
Oh, excited.
And I really wish, I don't know if Mike prepared to like have like a
Never.
picture of it flash on the screen or something. So I don't even remember who it was that said it to you, but someone at the con was like, you
Oh,
know who you look like?
oh, Kennedy.
Oh,
Oh, it was Kennedy. It was
It was
Kennedy.
Kennedy, which we'll get into that later, but yeah.
Andy Billups from Lower Decks. And it's uncanny. Like you can't unsee it. But I'm also like, how in the whatever, I'm gonna talk like normal. How the fuck do you have a Star Trek podcast and no one has seen this before? It's insane. Like Tasha Yar, yes.
Mm.
But Andy Billups, like, I fucking can't.
It's great.
So on point.
my God.
Yeah, and
Didn't you
it
send
then followed me the whole rest of the con.
Because I kept bringing it up in large
Andy
groups of
Billups?
people.
Yeah.
Wait, did you
loudly.
post that on the interwebs?
He did.
I
Yes.
did. And then Kennedy, who is the who's another podcaster who we met. She was there with her podcasting partner, Tony. They're not in a relationship because in the cosplay contest, which they did very well in, one of the queens said, "Are you two a couple? Because I want your room key," and which was kind of the vibe they were giving off. They're not a couple.
Ooh, I love it.
But we ended up at Heather and Godiva's room at the end of the evening with them, and she and I were talking, and then all of a sudden she just stops and she's like, "You're Billups,"
And I
That was it.
lost it.
And that was it for you. I love it. Oh, I love it.
Not to sorry, Sunil, go.
No, refocus us, Mike.
No, refocus us. Because I was just gonna tell another drunk person story at the bar.
Oh, tell a drunk person story in the bar.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
yeah,
we need
okay.
that.
Okay, so shortly after the why are you the way you are comment, someone who was in the vicinity of the original perpetrators beckons me over from the side, and we can tell that this, I want to say, I don't have a good description. This person, this guy, just had a few, and he said, "Hey, can you get me LK?" And I was like, "What? LK? Yeah, get me LK. LK, you know LK, LK, LK."
You're like saying it more
Okay.
times.
What is
doesn't-
it, Sunil? God.
You know what? I don't know. To this day, I do not know,
Oh my
because
god.
the guy next to him was like, He was at a wedding. He was kind of drunk. And fast forward a few hours, he was escorted out by security. So who knows?
Oh,
Wait, was he really tall and wearing like the
No.
D-bag cut shirt
It
that
was-
said
No,
zero
he
fucks
was-
given on the back?
It
No,
was
he
the
was
short guy
singing,
with the buzz haircut that was being aggressive towards Godiva.
Okay.
and
Ooh.
everyone else.
no,
Yeah.
no.
One
And
of
just
the
like
drag queens.
he was like standing in corners waiting for people to come up so that he would try to fight them.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
That's what got security called him. But I still want to know what LK is because it sounds like not a good time. I
Not-
want to avoid it.
Not-
Sounds like
All of this
drugs.
not to disparage the people of Long Island. All right.
This is just our lived experience.
Mhm.
Our
Um,
lived experience. We'll say
right,
they were
Mike.
wedding guests from away.
Yes.
Probably.
Yes.
All right, Mike Jones, what you got?
Okay,
You're the ship
so let's talk about the guests at the con. So this was a smaller con. So there were no like captains there, that sort of thing. But there were some pretty A-list Star Trek celebrities. Terry Farrell was sort of a headliner.
Yeah.
Andy Robinson, John Billingsley, and John Noble, who I wasn't really that familiar with him. He's a voice actor in Prodigy, but he's done a ton of work. I just didn't know. Like I like he was in Lord of the Rings, and he's just done all this stuff, like this amazing resume. His panel was really great. Were there any other guests that, or not other, but were there any like highlights for you guys in terms of who was there, who were the celebrity guests or the non-celebrity guests?
Well, I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but there was this guy there named Matt Jennings.
I knew
Oh,
you were
oh
going to bring
my
him up.
gosh, you guys.
I'm just kidding. We're all friends of the pod and friends with each other. But Matt, actually, one of my fave moments was on his panel that was right before mine and Damien's, and he was on it with Alex Dial.
I think it's Alex Deal. Yeah.
Mhm.
Deal, who is essentially like all of the androids in Star Trek Picard. They're all one person's face and it's his face.
It's his
So he's
face.
all of them. So nice.
Like the Mars
Also,
Attacks android. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Also, like
nice.
very queer, was on the queer panels, and it was really nice meeting him. He's like gonna be in New York for a little bit, so I was like,
So
"Come to
handsome.
the Proudly Go show.
Yeah,
You're so
he's-
cute." I
he's a
definitely have a
beautiful
crush,
human
even though
being
you
inside
don't
now.
reciprocate it.
I mean, kind of same.
I walked by
my
his
favorite
table
part-
once and he flashed his like amazing smile at me, and I was just like,
Yeah.
What's this kid's name? What? Deal?
Alex Deal.
Alex Deal.
Diehl.
Yes. Mike and I went to a panel called "The Women of Star Trek" that was two smaller guest actors. Susan Dial, who played the ill-fated Riker romance Carmen in Silicon Avatar. She, I think, dies in the teaser in the cold open, and then she came back as Dr. Dinara Pell in Voyager. Who's like the Vidian doctor who gets a holographic body. And then the other actor was Brittany Shepis, who is the sort of trill doctor on season 3 of Picard, who's rooting for Beverly.
Tiffany Shepis.
Oh, what did I call her? Yes, Tiffany. Sorry.
I don't know what you called
Brittany,
her, but it's
sorry.
Tiffany.
Those are the same name.
But she didn't. But she was they double booked her, right? So she
Is
ended
that
up
what
not-
happened?
Yeah, they.
She was like a life of the party at the dance party the night
Yeah.
before, so I was like, oh, did she oversleep?
No, she had a photo session at the same time. I heard them talking about it. Like they just
Okay.
accidentally double booked her. So
the
and
panel was
obviously
just-
the photo session generates revenue, so that's what she had to go to.
Yeah, and the panel was just Susan Dial, I think is her name. And
Yeah.
it was moderated by Lori Ulster, who is the co-host of the Trek movie podcast, All Access Trek, I think, which I listen to regularly. I think she's great. In fact, I went to that because I actually wanted to meet her. It didn't happen. But it was like the panel started, it was clear that it was just going to be this one actress, and we were kind of like, oh, this is kind of going to be a long one. But it was actually this like really interesting profile of being a character actress in Hollywood in the 90s on into today. And she started talking about her career. She's guested on literally every TV show that you can think of. She's
Wow.
been on Seinfeld, and she's been on all these shows from the 90s and on into today, and knows all these people. And it was just like a really it was like a reminder of like how many actually very successful working actors there are that we would never recognize or know what they do, that are, you know, that have a
That's the
real
actor I
career.
would want to be. I wouldn't want to be like, I would want to be a steady working actor who makes enough to be comfortable, and I could still go to the grocery store
Chili's.
and Chili's
Chili's
and have a
anytime.
great time, and no one had to mob me, or I can go out with my kids. Like, that's the life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was actually really a very interesting panel. And Terry Farrell had a lot of really interesting things to say, because sometimes when with these, especially with the Deep Space Nine actors who aren't doing a lot of new things, you know, you worry that they're just going to tell the same stories over and over again. But she actually really, she said a lot of interesting things about when she left Deep Space Nine and then went to Becker, that she purposely walked away from her acting career to be a stay-at-home mom, because her experience on Deep Space Nine, she was telling these stories about being single, about how people would be like, "You want to hang out on Friday night?" And she's like, "Well, I'm working until 3 a.m." Like, "How about Sunday afternoon?" "Well, I'm running lines." "Well, how can't you do that on Monday morning?" She's like, "No, I have to be at work at 3 a.m." And like, that's your life when you're on these shows.
Mm-hmm.
And so that she was like, if I really actually want to like commit myself to having a family, I have to do that.
Yeah.
And so that was the choice that she made. And so she gave this actually really, and her and the moderator who we saw a lot, her name was Adina from Big Sci-Fi Pod. Come back to that. They had this really interesting discussion that was like actually something that I kind of needed to hear in the moment, about like, when you make life choices, there's things that you are not choosing, and that you can't beat yourself up about like the things that you choose
Don't
not to
choose.
do because of the things that you choose to do,
Mm-hmm.
and that you can't physically do everything, and you have to like sort of go easy on yourself. And then Terry was like, I only have this one life, I'm going to do what I want. So it was really, I don't know, I found it to be an interesting personal anecdote from her, which I don't always get. So.
Especially from the person who portrayed Dax, One Life.
Who has many lives. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So my favorite little bit was so Michael and I from Spread the Go were on the Trektivism panel moderated by Miss John Billingsley. So yay, Enterprise.
Actually,
He's
it was
probably
technically moderated by Matthew Simone, right?
well.
What was the panel
So
about for us
It
who
was
weren't
it
there?
was hosted by Trektivism, which is another podcast that's all about like non like activism through Star Trek. And
Gotcha.
so one of the hosts of the podcast was kind of like paired with John Billingsley, talking about like just activism in general. Sorry,
yeah,
Sunil, go ahead.
maybe emceed by
Yeah.
John Billingsley. I don't. They were kind of sharing duties, but John was the one who was really bringing up people. The panel itself was it was kind of cute, because we like introduced ourselves and like said one other thing, and then and then Mr. Billingsley was bringing up people from the audience. You know, how do you feel? Did you get involved? What's your activism? What do you feel you can contribute? And it was a really great community discussion. So, but what ended up happening is, since he recognized me from that, I had a really nice 5 minutes with him later that day just at his table when it was quiet. You know, there was no one around, so I was just like, "Oh, hey, thanks again. Here's some to Proudly Go swag, and thanks for everything you do." And he was just really great. And I warned him against cloning humans with an alien potato again. If you
You're
haven't seen
worried.
Enterprise, that makes no sense, but still.
You're worried he's going to try that again? Is that?
Oh,
Not
my.
worried he would try it again so much as I just, you know,
I'm
it
more
worked.
worried
It
that
worked in the moment, okay?
I'm more worried that him giving you his phone number was him inviting you into like a polyamorous situation. But then I'm like, is that only Phlox, or like, does John Billings like, I don't know his life, you know?
And were you
Well,
concerned on account of sharing a hotel room with Sunil that you might be
Awakened by the sounds of
or drawn
Passionate.
into the
Three
subject.
wives.
No, actually not. This all happened on like Sunday. So
Yeah, well, you never know. Now I have 3 wives, and each of them have 3 husbands. So it works out.
that's a lot
There you
of
go.
female energy. Okay.
That's
You know what? You're more than enough for me, Leigh Ellen. Don't worry.
I know.
Aw.
Were there any other panels that you went to that were interesting? And then I'd like to hear about your actual panel that you were on. Damon's on, like, what the hell did y'all talk about? Who asked you questions?
Should we do that first?
Yeah, let's do that first.
Mhm.
I was, as you may know, I am very comfortable in the comfort of my own bedroom talking to my dear friends on this podcast, but public speaking is a whole other deal for me. So I was a little bit stressed out. And that when we actually sat down to do the panel and like maybe, I don't know how many people showed up to sit and listen to our panel.
Well, the thing was that the panel before us was like standing room because it was so crowded. And
Right.
then everybody left and the whole room cleared out.
Yes.
And then our panel started and there were maybe 10 people in the audience, if
Right.
that. Yeah.
So I was not mad to like have my first panel be a quieter one.
I was a little mad.
What was the
And I
panel?
felt
What was
so
the
bad.
panel before you?
It
It was,
was the impact of gender representation in sci-fi media.
Ooh, that's a heavy hitter.
Which they had
Yeah.
like the other drag queens, and then they had Matt Jennings and they had Alex Deal, and
Right.
yeah, it was just
Yep.
yeah.
I think the reason that not many people stayed for the allyship panel was you were up against Mr. Poppin' Twist in the
What does that mean?
Mr.
You didn't
Poppin'
look
was
at
the
the
Oh, he was that
schedule
balloon
that
animal.
good.
He was the
Yes.
balloon animal guy, right?
Yes, the balloon animal
Oh.
guy.
I was like, was that part of Sunil's schedule that got snuck in, or like?
You
oh,
know,
just kidding.
we already established that it was Damien on Sniffies, not me.
So
my shows
Damien,
usually made
tell
me
us-
laugh hard enough that I had like a coughing fit and had to mute, and now I'm sweating. So thank you.
Damien, you did a great job on the allyship panel. I know it was weird, like going into it because you were like, "Well, I mean, you're an ally, but like as a queer person, you're kind of on the other side of it." But you did a good job of kind of flipping it so that you did have something to talk about, and you told a great story.
Yeah.
Well, and the question was, how have you been an ally to your family member coming out? And I think actually the only person, Leigh Ellen, I think you were the only person on the panel. Well, I should say,
Yeah,
you have
actually.
certainly the strongest ally credentials of anyone on that panel for sure.
Well, I mean, I was thinking the guy that was sitting next to me, but actually his story was about his son who is in college, who came to him and was like, I'm going to join the Gay Straight Alliance because I'm straight and I have privilege and I want to help people that don't have privilege. And like that was also really touching to me. I'm in contact with that gentleman as well. Like
He
he's
was
so
lovely.
nice. He was
So
so
nice.
lovely. And he was also wearing a skirt, which I super appreciated. A kilt, but still a skirt.
I
It's a
was
skirt.
gonna say it was a kilt, wasn't it?
Twas a kilt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, that was more Irish than Scottish. Sorry, I did it wrong.
But
And
I thought
that gentleman
stop
definitely
now.
got
I'll
out his
stop
camera
now.
and showed me his Scotty cosplay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought you did a really good job. I didn't feel from you that you were like nervous on the panel or anything. And I was
Oh,
sitting
good.
right
No,
next
I
to
think
you.
I wasn't once it started. I was nervous in anticipation of it, and then once it was happening, I was fine. So it was one of those things. I was like, I just need to do this once to like,
Pop your cherry.
Yeah.
now I'm ready for panels, baby.
We're back to Poppin'
Is
Twist.
that what they call these days?
Yes.
Yes. What other like questions were asked? Like was it 30 minutes? Was it like a
No, it was a full hour. We
I think
talked
it was
for the
a
full
full
hour.
Mm.
I feel like I talked a lot, but I mean, as you did say, I kind of do have the biggest like ally credentials. Like I talked a lot about a friend of mine that I've had for 20 years coming out as non-binary and it just kind of being like barely even a conversation, like it was just so natural and like felt so comfortable. I talked about growing up religious and being actually like the Mandy Moore in Saved, like throwing the Bible literally at people that are gay, being like, you're going to hell. And then turning that around. And now I'm
Yeah,
kind
that
of,
was new information to us.
oh yeah, I know
Yeah.
people don't know that a lot about me. I'm like, I'm pretty open about it, but it's also, when does that come up, you know?
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah, I was like, Mandy Moore in the movie Saved is really the best description that I could do.
I am
So
filled
what's
with
the
Christ's
one
love.
thing that what's the one
Yes.
thing that you
Sorry.
Christ's love, okay.
Mhm.
Um, so I still feel bad that I had to miss it because I was helping out the booth. But what is the Leigh Ellen, what's the one little nugget that you would like to tell people who weren't there? Your one little nugget.
Um, I don't even really think it was something that I said. I think it was just kind of the general panel of like allyship is can be anything. Like it doesn't have to be something huge. It doesn't have to be like it's really just about making people feel comfortable and making sure to not overtake, like as a straight person, because it was kind of like we were talking to the audience as if they were the straight people that we were trying to help. Like, I don't know. It was really
Yeah.
like it was an ally panel full of clearly allies. Like it wasn't anybody that wasn't, it felt like, but it was more
There was no
like,
one there who needed to hear it.
yeah, but it was just more about like, oh, so many people talked about how they have created such a safe space in their life naturally that it gave queer friends of theirs like the comfortability to come out or things like that. And so I feel like that was the biggest nugget, is just like allyship is more about making people feel comfortable and making people feel safe. And then all the rest just comes after.
It's
I
And
think
interesting,
Damien,
even
it was also interesting to me. I think there was a little bit of like the allies don't always get it right.
Yeah.
The allies kind of try their best but don't always get it right. It was actually really interesting. One of the other women on the panel talked about how she was a pharmacist, right? Or she worked in a pharmacy,
Mm-hmm.
and that she actually was openly like, I was never really comfortable with the idea of trans people. Like she admitted
mm,
that on the panel.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because there were trans people who came to the pharmacy for gender affirming care, medication, et cetera, that she had to deal with face to face. And she
mm-hmm.
could, and was a generally empathetic person, and she could sense their discomfort
Coming
in
to do that task.
Yeah.
having to do that task at a pharmacy with someone who may not be an ally. And it was her own empathy for their discomfort that sort of caused her to see them and was provoked a change within her. So I've that to me was a really interesting story, because you're like, it's true, there are people who aren't necessarily bad people, people who are capable of being allies, who aren't, just because they haven't come in contact, or they haven't had like a human experience
Mm-hmm.
with a real trans person to have to like face them
Face
and
it.
see their humanity,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was the woman with the free mom hugs t-shirt.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like those people.
Yeah.
And also Audrey shared like a really sort of hard story
Yeah.
that felt
Audrey,
important from
who's
Two Proudly Go.
she's our grant writer, and what's her official title? She's like in
Chief
charge of
Development Officer.
Chief Development Officer. And she shared a story about being down near Coney Island and walking on the street, and somebody like poured unknown New York City liquid onto her and her friend. They and their friend. I mean, Audrey, she, her pronouns.
Be they.
But sorry, she, they pronouns. Thank you, Sunil. That's what I meant to say. But it was more about like the reaction, like what could an ally have done? Would it have made it better? Would it have made it worse? Would it have made anything? Like, and sharing that story, that was the first time a lot of us had heard that, even from the org, and it was just like that. It just sucks that people
Yeah.
do shit like that.
Audrey actually came to the show after that, and so I knew it right, like while it was still fresh in recent events, and I just couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
And so to kind of to that point, like, what could an ally have done? You know, Damien, to your comment about, like, everyone there, it was like preaching to the choir, if I could put that in your words, put words in your
Yeah.
mouth. But at the same time, you know, I think panels oftentimes are a moment to recharge, a moment to remind us why we work on things, not necessarily to evangelize or reach others. I think it's great that like that you had this time and this moment to share stories, because I guarantee you, just as you're doing right now, people are going to be sharing those stories, and those people will share those stories, and you know,
There's
as
value to preaching
stories,
to the choir.
Absolutely.
there is, except unless you're Leigh Ellen beating people over the head with the Bible.
I'm filled with Christ's love, to steal Mike's joke that got laughed over earlier.
It was good. Yeah, I did cackle loudly. It's
Yeah.
interesting though, because when you're in a room with people that you're like, oh, they're like-minded, sometimes you need a different way to possibly reach someone. Like having a story be told, like, oh, that's how someone handled that situation. I've never encountered it. Oh, that's how I can handle that if it comes up in the future. And here's the thing, if somebody throws icky New York City liquids on you, you really can't do anything, because it's just going to escalate into
Yep.
you like having your head bashed in. So you might
Yeah.
as well just like be like, gross, go to City MD, not sponsored. Go get a handful of pills, take those, get tested, and you know.
Mm,
Oh,
Yeah.
David, you didn't even mention what they said when that
yeah.
happened.
Oh, terrible
Um,
words.
yeah, they said,
Uh,
"Hey, this is
No,
for you, LGBT."
oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot that line. God,
Which,
like
which, by the way,
weird.
that LGBT is it's being used as a slur is like
Like so
so
bizarre.
weird and gross.
Oh.
Yeah, so gross. Yeah.
Don't
I
believe me. The people like that get their comeuppance in some way or another.
oh
Like
yeah,
I wholeheartedly hold
karma.
that fact true. That karma goes, bet. Maybe not today, maybe
Absolutely.
not tomorrow, but somewhere down the road, you're
Yeah.
gonna peel a hangnail and it's gonna peel your entire skin off. So good luck to
Well,
you.
is it
also
worth now
Audrey,
talking about?
if you're listening, I'm sorry I butchered that story. Thank you, Sunil. Continue, Damien.
Should we talk about the last Pride panel since we're on the Pride panels?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
So we came into the final one and all of the seats were in a circle,
Mm-hmm.
Were
and
y'all
which
in a meeting?
I
There were
know in my head I was
drums.
like, oh
Well,
God,
it was kind of like
therapy. I
it
already
was
had
like a
therapy.
meetup. It was like a meetup, like end of ceremonies for like all the like pride panels that they'd done throughout the
Okay.
weekend.
Okay.
And it
And were there
was
other guests, or was it just the panelists in this pride
No,
no, it
panel?
no,
was
it was
No
like
everybody.
panel.
there was no panel. It
There was
was
no panel.
just like everybody in a room. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
what did you say? It was maybe like 40 people, something like that. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe, and it was everybody went around and shared like something from the weekend, essentially, right?
Mhm.
And it was, I mean,
Really emotional.
from my own
Yeah.
personal experience of it was a reminder of my own privilege, and it
Mm,
reminded me of how um many young queer people have it really hard right now and
mm,
have some real struggles, and how the other thing about these conventions is you realize that there's a strong neurodivergent representation.
Yep.
Mhm.
There is so there's a lot of people who are for an array of reasons somehow apart from the norm. I mean,
Mhm.
us among them, but
And,
Yeah.
uh but it now
and
that
Damien, if I can pause you, I think that's part of the beauty of how people have sought refuge in Star Trek, and the narratives
Oh
that have been
yeah.
told.
Oh yeah.
1,000%. Yes, very
Mhm.
thank you. Yes. But yeah, it was just really sort of impactful. And it's one of those things like when it came to my turn to speak, I was like, I felt like I was coming from such a position of privilege being there that like I struggled to know what was appropriate for me to say in that moment. So I sort of like kept it brief. I think we kind of maybe all did, but there were
Yeah.
some really young and very
Sad.
Vulnerable.
Yeah.
Very
Vulnerable.
vulnerable.
Very sad stories.
And people who felt safe to be vulnerable in that room, which I thought was
Yeah.
really nice.
And that's so important. I mean, it was definitely like a sine wave of emotions as it went down the line. Of course, I had to end on a joking note, but
Yeah, Sonyl was
that
the
was
last
good.
person. It was so stupid.
I couldn't tell if you were
Leigh
done and you got
Ellen.
cut off.
Leigh Ellen,
I'm
you
just
know what?
kidding. It was really
You
cute.
say dumb in a positive way all the
I
time.
do.
So it was a queer panel, and we all basically went around saying like, what has it meant to be exposed to this and to these people and like in the queer lens and everything. I forget how it was exactly phrased, and I was the very last one, and I just looked at everyone and said, "Y'all are gay?"
That is very dumb.
And
You're right.
It landed in the moment.
It did.
Okay?
It landed in
It
the
did
room,
land.
like
No, of course it did, because you all just said that you were in a room, in a circle, and basically a meeting, an ending meeting where everyone is like, hello, bearing, if you're listening to this, not watching it, the bright lights in Leigh Ellen's apartment said, hello, we're here
poked
now.
something on my phone and we're just going to live here now.
Okay. Everyone's bearing their soul of like what this means and da 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 da. And you're hearing all these stories, and then just for someone at the end who knows that they're at the end to be able to like hit a button where everyone can just sort of deflate and laugh together, because
break the tension.
Because you can't leave being that heavy. Like,
I wouldn't have wanted to go first or last.
Yeah.
No. And yeah, it I also was looking at my watch because I had a flight to catch. So
yeah, we were like, we're going to be here for 20 minutes and then we need to slip out. And then little did we know that it was a circle, which made us slip out like really awkward.
Right. So I was like, we at least waited till everybody in the circle had a chance to talk, and then we slipped out. You know what I mean? Which was longer than 20 minutes.
And Sonyl talked, and Mike and I looked at each other and we're like, is that it? Does he have more? Is that it? Should we go? Okay, bye. All right, we're going.
You sent me a text at some point that was like, yeah, we had to leave before there was another like emotional thing and we couldn't escape.
Right, because you don't want to be like someone's crying or something, and you're like, excuse me, I gotta go.
Excuse me.
Right.
Love it.
It was so good
over you.
Right. Can we talk about what?
To just end that note, I was gonna say it is just so interesting and beautiful to me that like so many people of varied backgrounds apart that aren't of the, how shall I say, stereotype of people, because we're each so individually different. But like to the point of neurodivergency, to the point of the queer spectrum, to the point of the gender spectrum, to the point of just plain finding refuge in nerddom. I love it.
Yeah,
I think it gives so many people comfort.
And it is a space that you can walk around and you can literally talk to anyone and be and chances are any stranger you talk to have them speak warmly back to you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You could just walk up to someone and say Darmok and Jalad, and they would know what you meant.
They would probably say Timba, his arms open.
Right.
His arms wide.
His arms wide. Well, this is why I don't do trivia. Okay?
You know what, Leon? We'll teach you. We'll teach you.
Shaka when the walls fell.
Tamok, the river Tamok in winter.
Can we talk about the Fabulous Frontier Fashion Show?
Which it was fun.
So my only catty thing to say was I thought it was not a contest.
Yeah,
but then it was a contest.
70 came on and they were like, we don't want a contest. We want it to be a fashion show.
They
literally said that it was a
They
contest.
made me judge people, and
I know that like it
also,
started. They were like, "Here's our
thrown
judges panel," and I was like, "I thought this."
Right, and I got thrown in as a judge at like literally the last moment because I was sitting with you guys. I got up to go. Can I tell that story, Damien?
Abandoned.
Yes.
Okay,
Ooh,
so
abandoned.
So I'm sitting with these two in the audience, and Damien looks at me and he goes, You know, the only thing that would make this better right now is if I had a maker's mark on the rocks and I was like, hey,
In
actually,
my coffee. No, I had a
in my
coffee. I was
coffee.
like, if I
Yeah,
only had
yeah.
a splash
I
of
go,
Maker's in
hey,
this coffee.
actually, I have a bottle of Maker's Mark around the corner. So we got up together and went to go steal Heather's Maker's Mark. Well, I mean, it's not stealing. It's the show.
You procured it.
I procured it.
German
And so
officer.
then he goes back to the seat and I start talking to Heather and then she's like, hey, you're going to be a judge. And I was like, okay. And so I don't know, I kept, when I had to like announce who it was, like I didn't get to say any of the nice things to people. I had to be the one that was like, you're the loser and you're also a loser and you're also
No.
not the winner. No, it really wasn't like that. But I tried to make it very like, it was so close because everybody looked so great. They
Who
all
won?
looked so great.
What did they, how many contestants, what were they wearing, and who was the winner?
There were 5. We can tell you all 5, right?
Great.
Yeah, there were only 5.
So fifth place was Seven and Annika, who was a mom and her little, like, I think she said she was like 2.5. She was like throwing a temper tantrum the whole time. And I was like, this is great Annika energy. I love this. Like, the Borg is not going to take that bitch.
Ranger 7.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, she was in shiny silver too, so it was
yeah, the baby was in shiny silver, so
yeah. And then other than the baby like throwing a fit and like not wanting to be on stage, I felt like everybody else did like an equally awesome job because like fourth place could have been first place, who was I think her name was Chrissy. She was an Orion, and so she was green. She was all fully, she was what's her face from Discovery. This is why I don't do trivia.
Oh, right. She was
Osira. Yeah.
Not an attractive woman, but go ahead.
Well, she looked great.
No, that's fine. Not the person at Trek.
Then there was a Klingon. She was like, I'm the Klingon grandma, because like I came up with all these like, what would a Klingon who is retired, like what would their
retired
fashion
admiral
be?
Yeah.
And it was super cute. She looked awesome. And like the whole idea behind all of it was really great.
And she stayed in character when interviewed. She stayed in
She did. And then second place was the Section 31 sexy, like, oh my God.
That was Kennedy and Tony from Your Away Team podcast.
Yeah. New podcast. Just released some episodes, just if anybody's looking for something after this.
Yes, they do a Star Trek themed radio play.
Yeah.
Full in-universe radio play.
Scripted podcast. And then first place was actually one of our regulars at To Proudly Go, who was Sai, who was in the fashion show last year but did not win, and has come to our show in this same cosplay before, but it was full Andorian with the like movie antennas that were like moving around and everything. It's like, how do you not win with movie antennas? Like,
Lenita is implying you can't see.
Because Andorians. Hello, hell fucking yeah. I told you.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Side crushed it. So they won. And it was, I mean, but everybody got the same prize. So there wasn't really a winner. You know what I mean?
So what was the point of if everyone's getting the same prize? Because I don't like those. I don't like
showing people off, like having drag queens make funny comments, like letting people like walk a runway in their like cosplay and like feel special.
But don't have winners if everybody's gonna get the same prize. If I'm number one, I get the best prize.
Look,
I think I agree with you, Lenita. Maybe next year it should just be runway and runway.
Yeah, that's what
they
said it was.
Yeah.
You know what we could do?
What?
Is like introduce everyone at first, then do like the line back and forth, kind of like in a fashion show.
This is not the meeting that we're this isn't the Zoom
for
like let's work out these issues.
Yeah,
this is the Zoom for like let's
take over the con
and
yeah.
You know what, Leigh Ellen? I've had enough with your issues. Go buy a magazine rack.
Well, we also haven't talked about the To Proudly Go drag show yet, have we?
Yeah,
I think we need to cover that for sure. Obviously.
Yeah.
Heather Wood hosted the fashion show, and then that kind of led right into the drag show.
Yes.
Who performed?
Well, Heather Wood did not host. I hosted. I was the MC.
Yes.
Leigh Ellen was the MC. We had We had Heather Wood, Godiva Romance, and Jackson Juniper.
Mm-hmm.
A good number of cameos as well.
Ooh,
Jackson
cameo.
was Garrick, and got into drag early to go meet Andy Jackson at his table and take
Andy
a photo with
Robinson.
him.
Robinson.
I'm sorry, Andy Rob. Why do I keep saying? I don't know.
And how did
That's
that
why
go?
you
Did
don't
they
know
actually
trivia.
meet?
You're not.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Did they get that picture?
Yeah, it happened during me and Damien's panel. So
It was when it
I'm
could
down for
happen.
that. I was just so sad because I wanted to be there when that happened.
Mm.
But yeah. And then Godiva did Uhura at the beginning, and then did Captain Michael Burnham.
Mm-hmm.
And Heather did
Turned it out.
Major Kira to start, and then switched to Janeway, Captain Janeway. And then Garrick was Garrick throughout, or Jackson was Garrick throughout, because that makeup is like intense and it looked so freaking good.
Yeah.
And one thing I'll say is that the next day, so Jackson did the Garrick arc of basically the whole Dominion War. And the next day, someone comes two people come up to our table and say, "You know what? The Garrick did really well." I'm like, I have not even seen much of Star Trek, but I understood the character development of the arc.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
I told Jackson that the next day. I was like, you got some ups for that.
That's a really
That's
sweet
great.
compliment too, because our performers and To Proudly Go like take such pride in creating a story arc throughout
Yep.
their either the entire show with all the performers, or like their specific character. And so like that is just one of the highest compliments, and I love that for Jackson.
That's awesome.
Also, can we talk about the fact that you both appeared on stage? Sonyl gave an especially awkward, uncomfortable Bashir from the famous scene where Garrick and Bashir first meet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He looked so exquisitely terrified the entire time. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
And
It
then
was-
Leigh Ellen, sang live.
I did.
And
Is there no
we-
video of this?
There is video.
There is
is.
video.
We'll have to
I just
find.
haven't gone through to cut it yet.
She
But-
got pipes. She got pipes.
Oh yeah. Girl can
She
sing.
learned to sing in church. You
I
can tell
did.
that.
It's the one good thing that came from church. Yeah.
So Leigh Ellen, if you could give us just a few bars of the melody.
Let's give them Star Trek to talk about. How about Deep Space Nine?
Okay,
Woo!
country.
Oh, it's so good.
Okay, country.
Yeah.
But did you the rewritten lyrics to that?
I wrote most of that by myself. My friend Josh helped me with a little bit of it, and then I made some changes, and he was like, "A room full of Broadway lyricists don't enjoy the changes you made to my song." And I was like, "Well, a room full of Star Trek people love it."
Will.
So I mean,
Right.
I win. And I'm the one singing. Hey, girl.
Correct. That's awesome.
There was also
awesome.
a karaoke night the night before that with Leigh Ellen performed, and it changed lyrics to, I just lost the title of the song.
Oh, it was the Shania Twain
Man,
that don't impress. No, that
that
don't impress
me
with
much.
all the little
Yes.
like
Yeah.
the Brad Pitt, but instead it was like, "Oh, so you're the emissary? That don't impress me much." Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, so you own Quark's Bar? Yeah. It was fun.
Awesome.
It was very silly.
Good. It was
So
good. Now,
good.
it was also really, like, as someone who has obviously seen your show many times, and seen with a lot of other people who have seen it many times, it was fun to be in a room full of people who felt like they were seeing it for the first time, and that Star Trek drag was new to them. And
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
that
Yeah.
energy was really there for real.
Also,
Yeah.
like, knowing that all of your jokes are landing, like
Yeah.
all of the Star Trek, like especially my song, like I'll get a little drunk and sing that at karaoke and like do my lyrics instead of what's on the screen, and like not a single everybody's like, what the fuck is wrong with this girl?
Yeah.
But it's every line, like you could hear the whole audience like cracking up at the
Yes.
lyrics that I wrote, and I was like, that's fire. I love that.
Yeah.
No, it
That's
was pretty
awesome.
silent. You were just high.
Yes.
Okay,
It can be both.
I was drunk and high. Let's
Oh,
be,
let's
call
get
a
the
spade a
facts
spade,
straight.
yeah.
Facts
Mhm.
straight.
Yeah.
Or gay,
Oh
as it
my
would
God.
be.
Hooray for drugs. That was my coffee cup. I was reading my coffee cup just then.
We should also talk about our friend Matt Jennings.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
So
Yes, 'cause-
my favorite Matt Jennings moment was during the dance party. We were standing by the bar chit chatting, and he had you could tell he was partly distracted because he had one ear open for any Beyonce.
Yeah, he was waiting for Beyonce.
Beyonce came on. He books it to the room. Apparently dances his face off and then comes back out with dollar bills in his clothing.
Okay.
I missed that
And-
True
part.
story. True story.
I
True
saw
story.
Why
in
are
the
we
room when he
surprised?
started a line dance, and then there was like a group line dance situation.
Mhm. I believe it to be true.
Oh,
Yes.
Matt. But he
Oh, Matt.
also he had a premiere for his 1701 Blurred story. And
Mhm.
as somebody like who I hate that we're friends and I haven't watched it.
It
but
happens. It's okay.
Oh my God, it was so incredible.
It
He
was
showed us all
so
3
good.
episodes. Did like a Q&A and talked about
Q&A
like what's
was
coming
like
up.
got into it because it's
Yes.
funny
Q&A
because
got
we had him
into
on.
it.
Yeah.
That's how we first met him. Is we watched his web series. We talked about it,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and it's funny because we kind of went. I mean, we went pretty deep on it. We ran long talking about it,
Mhm.
and the conversation that was had in the panel after that, like the talk back, did not mirror anything that we covered in our hour and a half with him. So it was.
So it was
Huh.
even more and deeper and different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just covered it different aspects of it, and it was actually really interesting because there was some sort of movement in the room to try and because as you get into episode 2 and it sort of is like he's in this hookup with a guy who is racially fetishizing him. The guy
Mhm.
uses the N-word, and it is,
Mhm.
and there were all kinds of other sort
Uncomfortable.
of theories as to what could cause that kind of thing to happen and what could cause that kind of dynamic. And then there was a real what felt like a consensus that was like, oh no, it's actually much simpler. It's called white supremacy.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we let them
one
spin
of the
the
sci-fi
tale.
sisters said that. It was like,
yeah, and actually it was
Yeah.
Kennedy from
Oh.
Your
Your
Away Team.
who said some of it too. And
oh yeah.
and Yvette from the Sci-Fi Sisters was very active in that panel, and clearly they have really taken him on as a project. They want to promote him. They want to.
They're his aunties.
They're his aunties.
Thank you.
They're
I
his
was just
aunties,
thinking
and he was on Saturday morning. Apparently, I hope
He was late.
everyone.
To
I hope
the
I'm okay to
table.
repeat this.
Yeah, whatever. We're saying it.
That he was scolded for being, or he was scolded for being late. And then at the sort of after party, Matt was like, I gotta go to bed. I can't be late again. I got scolded today. And then I was like, hey, what was this scolding? Right. And he's like, that Yvette looked at him and was like, you're late. And I was like, oh, that's it. I was like, that's it. That's not so bad.
He told everybody
literally
about
every
this
black person in the
scolding.
room turned to me and was like, you don't have an auntie.
That is correct.
Right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
You
And then I
didn't-
just had to think about it, having met Yvette in person for the first time and hearing that in my head. I'm like, I would feel a certain kind of way hearing
Correct.
that as well. So,
100%.
yes. Which, by the way, we got to meet all the Sci-Fi Sisters in person.
Yes.
So
I'm sad I
lovely.
missed that.
Yes, they were so kind to us, and all of the podcasters were. They were
Yeah.
so nice to us, and they, and we sort of had the idea that we want to start doing t-shirts for people who are guests. And then we're like, oh, we don't have enough. So all the people who are like our friends who we're going to see like next week, we're having them printed. We'll have them for you guys. I was like, like our close friends aren't getting them. You will. But I was like a little like shy to like hand them out, you know? And when I did, they were all just like so nice. And Yvette was like, don't move. And she came back like 5 minutes later and we came behind the table and all took a picture together. And
yeah.
And
that
also
was
Derek,
that was a
Tyler
real
Attico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Derek from Autobiography of Benjamin Sisko, he had a panel, and that again, we had like a meaty discussion about that book, not anything really like the discussion that we had. So that was really cool to see, like that all this material that we were talking about has enough depth and meat to it that there's many, many different conversations that can come from it.
That's
Or
awesome.
tofu.
Sorry to vegetarians.
Oh, they'll be fine. Please.
They'll be fine.
Tofu
They'll be
too.
fine. It just sounded good.
Lenita, aren't you a vegan? Can't you speak on behalf of the veg?
No, because I'm not. I literally just ate meat lasagna from Stouffer's.
Yeah, this bitch came to my
And
Korean
Texas.
barbecue birthday party.
Weren't
and
you a
ate
vegan
all
at
the
some point?
steak. Like
Did
what?
not-
I
Maybe
was.
not-
I
Okay.
was a vegan at some point. Yes.
I can't keep track.
At some point.
Yeah, I was for like 5 years, and then I woke up one day, my body said, "Oh, we want some chicken," and so I ate it, and here we are. And Korean food is where my veganism ends because beef and
It's
leaf.
fire.
Yup.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, so
What have we missed? What have we
obviously
not covered?
we all want to go back next year. What will you do differently?
Ooh.
I'll start.
Wait.
Yes. Oh,
wait.
yes.
Wait. Were there merch tables because full disclosure, been to one con that was in Jersey, super fun. I enjoy the shopping portion of it all. We didn't talk about the shopping. We talked about the panels.
You're right.
We talked about the parties. We talked about the hotel. What was the merch?
Oh,
Great
the merch. We should
room.
talk about the merch that we bought you, by the way, since we did.
We can get to that, but get to the other merch. I want to know what else was around.
So there was a lot of cute stuff.
Oh,
so,
these. My
Ooh.
You
3D
got the
printed, yeah.
3D printed
and Mike has
rainbow.
one on his microphone.
On my microphone.
It's like a 3D printed like massive rainbow communicator badge.
And I alluded to my small Delta badge pin earlier. And okay, here's something else that I have.
The candles.
Oh,
you got one of
crocheted
those?
Spock,
Yeah.
a mini crocheted Spock.
Adorable.
He looks like a Funko Pop, but
does.
made out of
Oh my
yarn.
God.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Here's the thing. She will do custom work.
Yeah.
Yes.
I took her card. I don't know have her name. I feel bad.
I want it. I
Um,
want one of me. I want one of you.
Yes.
I want one of Damazon. I want us. I want us.
I mean, you could just ask for Billups.
No.
Just ask her
Or
Please.
Tasha Yar with a mustache, like either way.
Rude.
Tasha Yar if she forgot to wax.
There was some good some like ship stuff and badges and all sorts of
Any good pins?
lots of good
Mhm.
pins.
Well, it was so, Lenita, I think something that you're also fishing for is whether it was like repeat vendors from prior
Yeah.
things.
Oh no, not
the
even
fan
that.
sets
Because it was
people were
the
there.
fan sets people were
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
They had
did
did
they
not
have
have
any more
anyone there.
movies?
No, fan sets weren't.
Oh, I
was
didn't look
someone
for.
else's-
Did you look for move? Oh, it was a different.
Someone else had fan
It was-
sets pins.
someone
that
else
they were
had
selling.
fan
Oh, okay.
Right.
So fan sets
Okay, so
official wasn't there.
So that means that there weren't any updated moopsies that I
No.
told them they need to have.
Or Murph.
Or Merv.
or Murph.
I think the vendors fall into three categories. There's the ones that are selling things that other people have made and like vintage toys, like
Yeah,
the
Etsy business.
Right.
Yeah, the model ships. Then there are the creators who like the 3D printer people. There was more than one artist who had like great work. I definitely took some cards because
There
we
was the
could-
weed guy.
Yeah, there was a weed guy.
Made his own
um,
tinctures and salves from Long Island. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You would know that, Leigh Ellen.
I found the one weed guy at the Star Trek convention. I mean,
It
look, if
tracks.
I don't have a pothead radar, I don't know what I've got.
Also, I should point out that Leigh Ellen did take a moment to mansplain weed to me. That was really
Oh my God.
And then
I wanna hear-
Damien told me a story, and I was like, I think he's complimenting my breasts, but I'm not sure. It could be his friend that he's talking about, but I'm gonna take it as a me.
No, I have a close friend who is a big boobed Texan lady who loves to mansplain things, especially weed. And it like gave me this. Leigh Ellen was mansplaining weed, and I was like, oh, you're reminding me of my friend who I love very much.
Wait, I think Jamie just professed his undying love for Leigh Ellen because
Yeah,
whoever
absolutely.
that other person was, it was obviously Leigh Ellen in disguise.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and Leigh Ellen is here, and she is not. So
Okay,
It was
there you go.
Exactly.
Lore Ellen.
yeah,
We've seen it in the same room.
Yes.
That's a
Nice.
stupid joke.
That was
good,
really
though.
stupid, Leigh Ellen.
We enjoy stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, so good
Well, and the-
vendors. What did you buy? What
Yeah,
else
the
did you
third
buy?
kind of vendor were there were tables for creators like To Proudly Go,
Yep.
other podcasts, and there were the lineup of course, the celebrity tables selling their headshots and stuff. And then one, I would say, celebrity in the Star Trek world wasn't back with the other celebrities. He had his little booth where he was selling his scripts and books.
Ron
And it
Perlman,
was-
is that who this is?
It was
No.
David Gerald.
David
Okay.
Gerald wrote The Trouble with Tribbles, and he also wrote the original Bible of Star Trek: The Next Generation with Dorothy
Yes.
Fontana. So we, knowing Lenita's love for Tribbles, we bought a. He had the original script for Trouble with Tribbles that he had signed. But we were like, that's just kind of like a keepsake. We all know The Trouble with Tribbles. Well, he also wrote a sequel, like an unauthorized sequel to it, which he also signed. So we bought her that. And Mike Jones had Mike Jones not bought it, I would have bought it. Because we only need to have one between us.
There could be only one.
Wrote the show Bible for Next Generation,
like from first season. Yeah.
So it was like all the ideas that may or may not have like come to fruition, or may have not been reality.
Yeah. If you directed
that
an
through a
episode of
scanner,
the first
Mike.
season, or if you wrote an episode for that season, they would give you this so that you understand the characters that you're writing for or directing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you all get your coins?
No, there was no
Coins?
indication that was a thing.
The fucking things that I purchased via the Venmo of the things that we talked about when they were on the show, the coins or the pins or the shits.
You're right. The challenge coins that To Proudly Go, not To Proudly Go,
Library for the Kind.
Library
Not
for the
Proudly Go.
Kind, along with World Pride. Yeah, Paul was talking about that.
I'm going to be emailing Paul because you're supposed to have one, Damazon's supposed to have one, and I'm supposed to have one. I forgot to ask you about that.
I bet they'll show up in the mail. But yeah, we should follow up.
Okay, we'll do. Okay, continue on. But yes, I got to my desk and was like, ooh, you told me you left the bag. I was like, oh, I wonder what's in here. I knew my shirt was going to be in there, but I was like, Tribbles? I put it right back in, put it in my book bag, like, nobody can know about this. Nobody can see this. Nobody needs to know. And I'm going to go upstairs and thumb through it and read. Oh, I'm so excited.
And he did autograph it.
Oh, it's great. I saw
so awesome.
And he drew a little Tribble.
Listen.
I don't think it's very hard to draw Tribble.
It is.
It's not.
It's like a pom-pom.
It has more flavor than a pom-pom. I love them so much.
And David Gerald was like a fascinating combination between cranky and friendly.
Yes.
He's an old curmudgeon-y man.
Yeah.
Well, when we went to his table twice, the first time was when I bought my thing, and he was in curmudgeon mode. Not that he was rude.
No, I love curmudgeons.
But he didn't know how to use the credit, or he was having difficulty with the credit card machine, and he had someone helping him, and he was, whatever that guy's name was, I forgot his name. But he said, so-and-so, this man wants to give me money.
Exactly.
And then when we went back, he was like not curmudgeon-y and was very happy to chat with us. And you know what? Like he's getting up there. Like, I mean, any of these original series people who worked on the show in the 60s, like we have to like treasure our interactions with them,
Yeah.
We gave him our card, and he gave us his.
Yeah.
So who knows, listener? You may hear him on our airwaves
It
someday
would
in the
be
future.
the awesomest thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
Really.
Okay, so go back to I cut you off, but now we can go back to our
No,
original
you're good.
point.
There were the Volante people selling their $300 jackets, and the other company that was selling the like $150 jackets. What was it?
I don't
what
remember
were
their
they
name, but they
called?
had a Crusher one that was like so
Yes.
cute. Wesley Crusher with like the
that's
rainbow.
the one that I wanted to buy, and that
Yeah.
they were like, you can put it in an
They were
order
in
and get
Jersey.
it in 6 to 8 weeks. And I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah.
last thing I want is that thing coming to me
Oh,
in the middle of
no.
August. No, like I would like to walk away with it. Thank you.
Yeah, you
Oh,
should have
no.
bought it at the other con when you saw it, but you
Yeah.
wanted to be all me. I think about it.
The instant gratification.
Ooh.
Whatever. You know, I
There-
play a long game. I'll buy it in the next one.
You
It'll
will.
still be there
Right.
You will. It will be in your closet at some point.
at some point when I no longer fit it.
Don't talk about his closet. He gave that up.
Yeah. Be an ally,
Relax.
Lenita.
Came out of that years
God.
ago.
Listen, good luck to you with that.
Oh, can we
Mm.
can we play a dangerous game before we close out?
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Okay.
This is what Colby and I always do after parties. We say, who is your favorite and least favorite person at the party?
Oh,
Which,
that is dangerous.
It is dangerous. So least favorite will have to keep, you have to stick to generalizations because they may be
Sure.
but I would say sometimes we say it like with our old friends, right? Because some people, it doesn't mean that you love them the most. We're talking about who like at their best at the event, right? And I would modify it to say new person that you didn't know.
New
Okay.
person.
So you have to keep it. I mean, unless you really want to go there, you can name names on the list. But
Name their names.
Do
Say
you want to
their
start?
names.
Are you ready?
Yeah,
to
do you
start,
have yours in
Damien?
the
yeah, I actually would
pocket?
say, who actually was one of my favorite new people. Like I was gonna say, the Sci-Fi Sisters are great. Like they were all very nice to us.
Mhm.
They were. I don't know that they're new to us because we have met them virtually. We've corresponded with them. Actually, we went to the
You're
Strange
gonna
New
steal
Pod
mine.
table.
Oh, dang it. I knew you were going to steal mine.
Yeah, and they were so nice to us. And Julian, who is it seems to be the lead host.
Oh, I
was
love
giving us-
Julian.
Was giving
Yes.
us, first of all, he led a great panel. Was giving us like
Yeah.
all this free advice that we didn't ask for. That was like smart and helpful and like
Yeah. I
there's
literally
no,
went away and
like-
wrote down everything he said. Like,
Yeah,
really
'cause
good
there's-
advice.
Because you would think if you're us, you're either going to be like, oh, you guys are like nothing. You guys are small potatoes. Like, we're not interested in you. Or you guys are competition. We're not going to help you. None of that. It was
No,
literally
none of
just
that.
like warm and generous and super nice. And when you're the person standing at the table, I mean, I was wary of this with you guys at your table. Like, I don't want to, because you're my friends, I don't want to block your table from people who might actually be strangers who want to learn about your org.
Right.
So I'm like cautious of monopolizing someone's table. So we kept trying to like give opportunities to like walk away, to be like, oh, we don't want to like, and then he like kept talking, and like everything that he offered us was like, and especially like sometimes when you talk to these people who have like bigger podcasts or are YouTubers, you kind of want to be like, what's your money situation? Like, what's your like, and he didn't like get graphic about it, but he was like, he was willing to go there a little bit with. I mean, he just said all really interesting, generous
That's awesome.
things to us for totally no reason.
Because he wants to see us succeed.
Yeah, he's
Absolutely.
just really nice.
Just Trekkies put goodness out into the universe. I'm gonna say my least favorite was the woman who asked me why I am the way that I am.
Well,
Well,
we
that
all
was
knew
an
that.
easy.
Yeah, so that was
an
easy.
Yeah.
Mike Jones.
I will say my favorite, because you took the one I was going to say, but we had a similar interaction with one of the hosts, or actually both of the hosts of the Big Sci-Fi podcast, which is on the Trek Geeks Network. Steven really took time to talk to us, and that was a great interaction. And
No, they were great.
I
as
hope
well.
that we get to do a crossover or something with them someday.
And Adina, who was on our panel, is with their podcast as well.
Oh, right, yeah. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't.
They've got 4 or 5 of them. I think that they.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least favorites. gosh, that one's hard for me.
Too many to count?
No, there weren't too many bad interactions. Uh,
How
I don't
about
know. Come back
how
to
about
me.
the lady that gaslit you about the power going out?
Oh
Right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that works.
The housekeeping
That
woman
works.
who gaslit me about the power going out. Yeah. If I think of another one, I'll pipe in. But
Okay.
Sunil?
So, sorry, my connection was fuzzing out a little bit too, so
Sure.
apologize. No. So favorite interaction was well, I mean, he was a new person to me, so John Billingsley.
Yeah, I
gotta say that was
got
really
his
cool.
digits, you know.
I know. And I slid into his DMs.
Oh my God.
I'm joking. I would never do that. Although I do want to send a thank you from the org note.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
least favorite. Give me some LK.
Yeah.
You all are picking these random people who yelled at you. But Damazon, I'm very just point of reference. I'm very proud of you, Damazon, for how quick you were coming back at that douchebag. Because these things never happen when I'm around. Because the universe knows that I'm going to stomp you to the ground. Not physically, not actually, but with my words. And then you're going to go and cry and rethink your entire life. But, Damazon, you did me proud. I was like,
well, it's funny because 9 times out of 10 things like that happen to me in my life, and I walk away like a minute later with the script that I should have said.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But every so often, maybe it's because I was drunk, or maybe it's because she was evidently drunk and harmless. That
I'm ready. It's perfect. Okay.
So my favorite was actually someone who I've met digitally, but not met on like in person. This woman, Brenda, who she works with Chase Masterson and Pop Culture Hero Coalition. She's like a therapist, psychologist that's been doing all of their kind of like programming for Chase's anti-bullying like lesson plans essentially, and also has been working with To Proudly Go on the new LGBTQ programming, and she's like putting together a lot of lesson plans, and we're trying to get some stuff together, and we finally got to meet in person at the convention and have like a meeting. And then I was like, I can't believe that you've been in all these panels that I've been in and I didn't recognize your face from Zoom, and like her and her wife had been at like every single panel, and I was like, oh, it was just so nice to meet her in person finally. And like her and her wife are just such like nerdy Trekkies, and it was amazing. I cannot think of a least favorite person. That's not saying that there wasn't. It's just other than like the random people who it's very easy to be like, yeah, I didn't like that person. They sucked. I just can't think of anybody that I'm like
that way.
Yeah, everybody, all the Trekkies were so great. I have another favorite, Demanda Martini.
Oh
yes.
Drag
Oh
queen
my
who
God.
hosted a couple panels, and again, we popped by her table. I'm trying to get her on the pod, and she just like really took time like to chat. You know what I mean? Like she was great, and fabulous. So.
Yeah.
Also, I would say Jessica.
Jessica. Yeah. I thought you were going to say her too. Jessica Krause.
She's literally the token lesbian. and she like refers to herself as that and all, and she's very, very funny, and she was an excellent cosplay both days. Actually, she was dressed in a Xena look on Friday. And I didn't we recognized her from D&I Con. But amazing. I did not recognize her in that Xena look, which was amazing.
Yeah.
She had some great stories about her Xena look, and meeting Lucy Lawless too.
And Kevin Sorbo.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How many people do you think attended? I know Mike Jones, you're about. I was trying to get
We're
you. We're
so overtime. Yeah, he's about to tell us.
Overtime. We don't have time. We talk however long we want to.
Time is a fire in which we burn.
How many people do you think attended?
Based on who was standing outside when we evacuated, I don't know. I would say there was maybe 200.
Okay.
Something like that.
Wait,
Wouldn't you say?
200?
More. Definitely.
You think more?
Yeah, because the
Yes.
people
Oh,
that
you
were
know what?
outside with us in the back were just the people that happened to be in the vendor
back.
hall.
You're right. There were more people out front.
Because
Yeah,
all the
you're right.
panels were upstairs.
Yes.
So anybody who was in a panel evacuated to a different area. People
Okay.
that were still in their rooms.
Yeah, like out front there was probably a good 7,500 also.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
maybe
don't know.
like,
Would you say like 500-600 people?
That's what I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would be interested to know from them what their numbers were, but yeah, it was
Yeah.
so it wasn't huge, but it was
intimate, which was nice. Like
Mhm.
it was just very casual to be like walking around talking with the Star Trek actors and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's
Riding
funny
the
because
elevator with them.
when Mike sent me the schedule for the con today to review to like get a sense of what we wanted to talk about, I was looking at it and being like, oh my God, there were so many things happening that I missed.
Yes.
Because there were so many
Yeah.
panels happening at once in different rooms that you really did have to choose. And like Sonyl, I would have, you know, had we had our act together and planned better, we would have been at your panel. You know, all those things, or late to Austin. Sorry, Austin.
I didn't even wake up. Like I was not going. It was at 10 a.m. Austin had a
10
panel
a.m.
at 10 a.m. on Sunday.
Terrible.
Let me tell you what
Woof.
time I went to bed on Sunday, 7 a.m.
Don't.
I was gonna say 7:30.
Yeah, 7 a.m.
And
Mhm.
I was just about to get up for the
Yeah,
day.
he was waking up for the day, and I was like, okay, well, if you're awake, I'm just gonna start packing.
So Leigh Ellen and
Oh my
Austin will not be
God.
rooming together at the next Too Proudly Go event.
Oh no, we're great to room together because I party all night and then I come home and I shower and then I pass out.
So
And
you
then
could
I'm just
you
like dead
so
as
you're
a
like
theoretically
rock.
share the
opposites.
same bed just for different hours.
We did
At
last
different
year and it was
hours,
actually
yeah.
great. Yeah.
That would work. That would work.
Love it. Oh my
Oh my
goodness.
gosh.
Oh,
Well, thank you everybody for
goodness.
telling
Well,
me about the con. It seemed really
yes.
fun. Sorry to have missed it.
Next time you'll have to be there. The next convention that's on my radar, even though there's, you know, probably many that I don't know about, is a Creation Con in Orlando at the end of August. So it's, I don't remember the exact dates. It's Trek to Orlando. Look it up. Be there. I'll be there. And hopefully my co-hosts will be there. That's
Oh,
me guilting them.
damn.
Working on
You
it.
know, guilt
Or
never
you could
works on me.
you could come back
Oh,
up
no, it doesn't
here
either.
for Trek to New Jersey again,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is going to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
also
yeah.
in Secaucus.
No,
again.
it's not actually.
Oh, it's not.
Oh, it's not in
No,
Secaucus
it's not in
this time?
Secaucus this year. I was talking with a friend from Creation about that, but I don't exactly recall what they said.
But that's in like the end
It
of
used to be in
September,
Paramus.
I want to say.
It is in New Jersey, but apparently it's a little bit deeper in. But we
Oh.
can report back on that.
Thank
I'd
you.
rather go to Florida
You know
Please,
what?
goodness.
and
August?
deeper
Ugh.
into Jersey. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No one wants to go to Florida.
No one should go to Florida.
No,
Except
please
for Orlando.
come
No, listen.
visit me.
Orlando is the place where you go, and Miami. Those are the two places that are outside of the greater
Oh, wait.
state. That
I have to say, one of my favorite people at the con was Mike because we got to hang out in person, which doesn't get to happen very often. And I can't even tell you how many people have been like texting me or like that I chatted with on Sunday since the con that were like, oh my God, it was so nice to meet Mike Jones in person. He's so nice. I love him so much. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
See,
that's
Mike
so
Jones, you have to come around more.
sweet.
Mike was the
I'm
ingenue of the convention.
blushing.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, we're gonna stop. So
We can go on forever.
Mike, you
We
derailed
really
me.
could.
This
Okay,
is
we're
how
gonna
we
stop.
know when. This is how we know to close the pod. To get it's just a flatter Mike, and he's like, "All right, we're gonna stop."
We're
Flatter
stopping.
Mike, and we're done. I'm embarrassed.
We're done.
I can't take this.
Compliment.
Oh my gosh. Thank you guys so much for taking time to come and be on the pod with us. Can you give us a quick rundown of where folks can find you and find Too Proudly Go?
At To Proud to Go on all socials.
Woo!
Yeah.
Easy.
And you can find me at Leigh Ellen M. I
What's
made
the M?
my last name. No one knows that Ellen is not my last name. It's my middle name. Mitchell is my last name.
Wait a minute. You thought that Ellen was her last name?
I don't know why I thought that.
Because on social media, I don't have my last name.
Why? Because
Yeah,
Mike
but
Jones
Leigh
is
Ellen
the full
is the
name
first-
person. You thought Leigh Ellen was the same?
Leigh Ellen is her first name. Like, yeah, middle, but like,
Yeah. It's my
hello.
first name.
It's a name. It's the given name.
But wait,
Yeah,
Ellen
yeah.
is your middle name? I thought Leigh Ellen was your first name.
No. My mom is Joe Ellen and my grandma is Rose
Oh.
Ellen.
hello.
That's sweet.
She was religious. That's how that works.
Yeah, you pass down the names. You pass down the names and you pass down the shame. That's how religion works.
And the
Yeah.
Bible.
Wow.
And then you beat people with the Bible.
Yes.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, to Proudly Go, to proudlygo.org.
You can find us at Industry Bar
Mhm.
on 52nd and between 8th and 9th on Saturdays. Check our social media at To Proudly Go because it's not every Saturday. But I will
almost
say
every Saturday.
this coming Saturday, I'm hoping that Lenita is going to be present because we're doing The Voyage Home with Dr. Jillian Taylor. Heather Wood will be playing Dr. Jillian Taylor. We're going to have Spock in a bathrobe. We're going to have, I forgot who else is performing in this show, but I think there's 2 other kings and or a queen that are going to be in there. So, yeah.
I mean, somebody has to be George and or
Maxwell
Gracie.
Maxwell
Warp.
for, Bones.
We are also doing a big Pride show on the 21st. I won't announce who the guest is because I don't know if we're allowed to, but it may or may not be somebody who's been on television, who knows. But
Nice.
the 21st, because we like the bar is so crowded for Pride that we can't
Of
be there.
course.
So
Yeah.
we're doing the weekend before Pride is our huge To Proudly Go Pride celebration. So hopefully this episode drops before then. Come out June 21st. Yeah.
Mike Jones he'll do some magic.
Wow,
He'll make
did you
sure
hear
that-
Mike Jones? Leigh Ellen is like totally peer pressuring you
Magic.
from across the Zoom
Correct.
screen.
Correct. Said producing from a square.
In
Mike is
less
just going to
than
repeat
3 weeks.
Lenita's
Gonna go to
line.
all
Guilt
the
doesn't work
prides.
on me.
It kind of does. It just makes me feel bad. That's all. Okay. Thank you to my co-hosts for joining me this evening. Thank you, dear listener, for listening and enjoying our recap,
Oh,
our
Mike Jones,
retrospect. Yes.
Can I just interrupt and say real
Yeah.
quick that one of our con friends told us, he says, I'm one of your tens of listeners.
Yes.
What
yes.
a read. What
Yes.
a
No,
read.
because that's what Mike says, that we have tens of listeners.
I do say that.
You literally
so I
lifted
have
it
said
from
that
our
joke.
pod and regurgitated
Oh,
it.
that's
All right,
so
I'm sorry.
great.
Now I've Lenita'd the closing.
Amazing.
You've needed. If you have enjoyed today's episode, leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Check us out on YouTube. And you can find us on all the socials at Hailing Freak Open or at hailingfrequenciesopen.com. And with that, I will say Hailing Frequencies closed.
No goodbyes. Just good memories. Hailing frequencies closed, sir.